Um, it's
Welcome to the
Monday.
show. Yeah, it is Monday.
Yeah, March the 18th, and as per usual, there's been no shortage of bullshit in the news, like real, genuine, mind-bending bullshit.
Don't have to dig deep to find content, sir.
No, it's not hard at all. And then, of course, what we're going to talk about, because everybody's talking about it, is the Bloodbath conspiracy.
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean, it's so blatantly intellectually dishonest that I almost don't know ever what to even think of it. Like it's like we do exist in the same plane as you. I mean, we do, you know.
I know what to think of it. You think of it the same thing you think about everything else they do. No matter what the man says, it's going to be blown out of proportion. It's going to be taken to the most extreme possible, worst way ever. I mean, like, you think about what was it? Joe Biden when he was running, he said, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black."
Oh my
If Trump
God.
would have said that, holy shit! And to be honest, listen, I'm gonna be fair about it. Was that a racist thing to say? Absolutely. But at the same time, I know what he was trying to say. What he was
Sure.
trying to say that is, if you don't vote for me and you're black, Trump's going to do terrible things to you. Is what which is bullshit. But I mean, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's what he was really trying to say.
Right.
Does that blow up? Does that turn into a whole thing? I doubt that there's any libs out there that even remember that or know about it.
I
I'd be
think that
very
there.
surprised.
I think that there's probably libs that cringed when he said it because they knew the implications of the propaganda value of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because nobody's better at propaganda than the left. I mean, nobody is.
I think we need to ramp it up a bit,
I'm
maybe.
I'm with you on that. But seriously, I think that they cringed, but I think I'm with you. I don't think they really cared, and they definitely didn't commit it to memory. Like, oh, there's another one of the big one. It's the same one where he said, you know, poor kids and black kids are just as smart as white kids or something like.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you talking about? Like,
Well, the
world?
greatest. Well, sorry. Go ahead. What were you
No,
saying?
I just say, what world do you live in?
Oh, the greatest. What I was going to say is the greatest point I've ever heard about all this is that they're just shoving so much bullshit and propaganda and lies at you. It's impossible to sift through.
Right.
It's impossible to remember like what was actually said because tomorrow there's going to be 10 more things that are just as outrageous and crazy. So it's so hard to find the truth. The that time I was telling you where I pulled up the Parental Education Rights Act in Florida because someone
Yeah.
was saying DeSantis is trying to like kill gay people or whatever they said he was doing to gay people. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's not what it says. I had to sift through 67 links to actually find the actual bill, the document, the bill, like the 3 paragraphs or whatever it is bill, very easy to read bill. And it was just every link before that was just a left wing propaganda piece. Don't say gay, and DeSantis is trying to destroy the LGBTQ LMNOP community or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So you're right. They just try to like inundate us so much in crap that
Right.
it's impossible to debunk everything because it's just flying at you a mile a minute. We're gonna have to create a conservative AI just to debunk the shit.
Just to, yeah, dude, that's like when it was funny because Tucker Carlson had Alex Jones on his show on X after the State of the Union address, and he says to him, well, after like the first 15 minutes, this is Tucker speaking to Alex. He says, after like the first 15 minutes, I just quit writing down all the lies because I couldn't keep up. And Alex said, that's exactly what they want you to do.
That's the point. Yeah,
They
because you
just
can't keep
flood the zone. Yeah. They flood the zone and they make it so that you can't fact check everything. So stuff slips through the cracks. And when it does, it becomes codified in truth.
true,
It's
valid,
crazy. Mm.
valid. So yeah. Anyway, so this today, or well, I guess it wasn't today. It was when he was doing his. It was in Ohio. He was doing his speech. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was in Ohio over the weekend.
Yeah, and he's talking about the tariffs that he put on China, and he was talking about that again, and he
Yeah.
was referring to them building factories in Mexico and then building the cars there for cheap labor and then selling them to us. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
no more. Like he wants to create car factories in America again and employ
Right.
Americans. And I don't, for the life of me, I cannot understand the left's issue with this stuff. It's like,
Well,
why do you hate that so much?
because they don't see themselves as citizens of this country. They see themselves as citizens of the globe. And to really drill down on exactly what he was saying is that because of Biden's policies of wanting to do this EV mandate on vehicles and trying to push this kind of high corporate tax for manufacturers and stuff, even though that's why when he was doing the State of the Union, he was saying, we're going to make America the manufacturing giant it once was. And then in a breath later, he says, we need to raise the corporate tax rate to 30 something percent, which is we already have one of the highest in the world, which is incredible. And he wonders why we don't have manufacturing here. So he's saying these things. And then Trump's like, listen, if I don't get elected, the auto industry is going to go through a bloodbath, and economically it's going to be a bloodbath. That is a commonly used colloquialism that could be espoused to a million different situations. And the fact that all of a sudden the left has become so intellectually dishonest that they're like, that's just, and here's the thing. I'm sorry. Do you have anything to add to that before I?
Well, I got a little nugget to add to it, but I want to go ahead, go run with your thought there.
Well, no, because I have something I want to bring up here very specifically. I'm going to show you a video. But
no, I got something to say about that, and I was wondering
Okay.
if you've heard about it because I don't have a lot of details or specifics. It was just something I ran across.
Sure.
I was wondering if you had too, where one of the EV factories that they're talking about building actually would need its own coal energy source, like a coal factory that produces energy just to run it, because there isn't enough electricity to run the factory unless they created a whole nother like smokestack.
Right. So you're talking about they want to build a factory in an area that doesn't have enough power generation to maintain a factory. So in order to do that, they have to build at least a small coal-fired power generating system in order to power. Okay.
That's what I was wanting to bring up. I was like, that it's just like, it's the hypocrisy is so crazy. It's like, we're going to save the environment. What? By building more coal factories, like to power this thing, like the mining, the fracking that's done to mine the lithium. That's we're cool. That's all good. It's typical lib America too, because it's just like the drilling for oil. Everyone's like, oh, that's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's like, it's only terrible when it's happening here.
Right.
You don't mind it happening in the Middle East. You don't mind it happening in Africa. You don't
or
mind
China or anywhere.
China or wherever else. It's like, it's okay for them to drill for oil and we'll consume that oil, but we can't produce our own. That's like the worst thing ever. Like, you're literally Hitler if you even suggest something like that. Like, what the fuck?
The whole thing is ridiculous. One of the funniest things that I've seen, and I've seen this firsthand, if you go to Michigan, right, they have these parking lots that are these power generator systems where you could pull up and plug your EVs into. And I think there's usually between 10 and 12 slots. Out of those 10 or 12 slots, there's always a few that don't work because it's janky new technology. You know what I mean? There's a rush to do it. But the funniest thing about it all is if you go to any supermarket in America and you drive behind it, you're going to see a huge cat generator.
Yep, everywhere.
That's the same one that sits on that very property powering those electric stations, a diesel-powered cat generator. It is the most, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Seriously, what are you doing? You're burning all this diesel fuel to power cars that can't hold a charge in the wintertime. And listen, I understand that EVs are going to take some time to get, worked out. But yeah, it's at some point in time, we have to say enough's enough, right? Let's just get out from underneath.
One hillbilly said, or I'm calling him a hillbilly, but who knows? He was like looked like kind of like a lumberjack. And you could tell he knew a lot about cars, like one of those guys, like hardcore mechanic guy. And I remember that, and this was years ago. They put it, I just ran across the video, and it's funny because I never thought of it either. And he's like, well, let me ask you something. What charges the battery in your gas-powered car? The alternator, right? He's like, can't they create a souped-up alternator to put in these electric cars where it just charges itself as it drives?
Okay, so that's funny that you brought that up because originally I almost said Toyota. Rest in peace, my boy Mooch. My Ukrainian friend Mooch could never say Toyota growing up. And he had a Toyota like 1979 hatchback and he used my Toyota. But it was funny. But Toyota originally in the Prius had some kind of charging systems attached to either the braking system or whatever. But I think they were generating power in the same type of processes like You ever see those things on the back of bicycles back in the day that were for the rear tail light? And if you clicked them over, the little wheel sat against your wheel, and as you pedaled, it powered the light
powered
on.
the light. Yeah.
Similar principle, but obviously higher voltage meter.
Sure.
But they quit doing that real quick for some reason, and I think they were probably having fires break out.
Could
because
be.
it's really hot down there, between the brakes and the the generating system. I mean, we're getting too far off the topic. We both agree that EVs are dumb. Let's go back to Bloodbath because
Yes.
there's two things that I want to discuss really quick while we can before we move on, and that is Jen Psaki, who used to be, Peppermint Patty. She used to be the spokesperson for the Biden White House. I believe she was the spokesperson, press secretary for the Obama White House as well for a while.
Yeah, that's when I heard that name. Yeah.
Yeah, she left, and we got this, just the gift that keeps giving, Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, the woman that just keeps constantly reminding people that she's gay and black. Like, we don't know that she's gay and black.
Because I can't, I don't have eyes.
Yeah, it's like, lady, listen. I don't know how an avowed communist, somebody that used to go on MSNBC all the time, who is an avowed communist, she says she's a communist, how she became the spokesperson for the White House. Oh, wait a minute. I know it's because Obama's a communist and he's still running the country. That's why you see him go today in Europe into the minister's office. Some minister. Why is he there?
Yeah, what does he have to do with
that? Not a government official. He doesn't belong over there. What the fuck's he meddling around? Anyways, again, we're getting off. Jen Psaki, she literally says, well, we have to go, we said that we were going to go with Bloodbath, and then we had to go look it up because everybody was yelling about context. So she shows the video in its entirety.
Okay.
To her credit. She then immediately tells you what you just saw, you didn't really see. What that was, yes, a colloquialism, but to his supporters and hardcore followers, it was a dog whistle. And that dog whistle was telling them, get out in the streets. I'm like, are you mentally ill that you would really think that anybody, and I support Trump as much as anybody does. I mean, full-throated. And I didn't look at that and go, oh, he wants me to take arms up against Democrats or the left or something. I thought about it like, oh, that's a commonly used colloquialism that I've heard a million times, and it totally makes sense to the rest of the contextual shit he's saying.
Right. Even if you were taking it as it wasn't about what it was about, and it was about in general, like if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Sure.
But there's a lot of things that could mean. Like it could definitely. First of all, it wasn't what they're saying it was anyway, so that doesn't matter.
Of course,
that doesn't matter. But even if it was, I mean, yeah, that like you said, that's a common phrase, common turn of phrase when describing something. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, the hyperbole in politics these days, I mean, it's just off the charts anyway. I mean, Biden has said crazy stuff. Trump said crazy stuff. Everyone's saying crazy stuff. Everything is as extreme as it could possibly be. And it's just whipping people up into a frenzy.
Yeah. And it's crazy to me. I just don't get it, man. It's retarded. So anyways, Joe Scarborough had a meltdown this morning on MSNBC because he basically got caught engaging in propaganda. He was called out on it. His Twitter was absolutely blown up and destroyed over it. And the thing that's crazy is he doesn't learn his lesson because he comes out and he says, I wasn't, pushing propaganda, blah, blah, blah. Who would use that colloquialism, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to show you something here.
All right, fire away.
That
let's sip of my public sweet tea.
A little bit of sweet tea. Hang on. Let me do this real quick. I'll try. I don't know how this is going to come out. But I don't care. I'm going for it.
Go for it. All in. Full send.
For it. Now, this is compliments of Cat Turd on Twitter. Now, Cat Turd sounds ridiculous, but if you've been around politics for a little bit, you understand he's actually a super influential guy from the Panhandle of Florida. He's got I think over 1 million followers, and the dude is smart. He's just an old Florida boy.
Yeah, I think the name is very contextually accurate.
Yeah.
When we're discussing politics and the shit the left are doing. So yeah.
So let me just okay. I want to just make sure that's not going to blow our ears out. This is a little bit of the hypocrisy, eating it like pudding.
he was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. On the eve of this bloodbath, it was going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. Would be an absolute bloodbath.
Bloodbath. This bloodbath in South Carolina.
There's going to be a bloodbath. There will be a bloodbath at the convention.
An absolute bloodbath.
This was going to be a bloodbath. Does this nominee get through without a bloodbath?
Hashtag bloodbath.
We're going to be having bloodbaths. This would be a bloodbath. It would be a bloodbath. Seriously, he was talking about a bloodbath.
This is what we're dealing with.
You think it's going to be a bloodbath?
I think he thinks it's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, these people, man.
I think he thinks it's going to be a bloodbath. And furthermore, I think that I mean, there's other videos here of them for like minutes on end going on, just different. Here's one right here.
Bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath. Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies as part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an...
What the hell did she just say?
What's that?
Did she just say that, like, something about dead bodies?
Yeah, hang on. We'll back it up.
Wait, what?
Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies as part of the...
Trump left a lot of corpses in his wake.
What?
Yeah. She's talking about, and to be fair, I don't want to do the same thing that they're doing, okay? Because what they're doing
I don't know. I'm like, what the hell?
Is intellectually dishonest. What she's saying is he's just been murdering the opposition. Like that's like talking about.
Oh, so okay,
like
figure of speech. Okay, it's a figure
of speech. Like just dropping bodies on the floor because
okay,
he's defeating them politically. So the greater context that, as soon as I mentioned it to you, totally understand.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. With her, it's
I thought she was trying to say that Trump was like because of Trump, like people were murdered and left dead in the streets everywhere or something. I don't know. Anyway,
she wishes. Yeah. She wishes because
that'd be the greatest thing for CNN ever.
Well, I mean, listen, there have been people already saying like, well, they're rebirthing the whole very good people thing again from Virginia when he's like, well, he called the Proud Boys and Nazis very good people, and it's like, dude, he actually didn't say that, and
he said there's good and bad people on both sides
of the argument.
Of the argument, right?
Yeah, the statues
that
argument.
was back to when we're trying to use logic and facts to try.
Yeah, we're trying to be civil, right?
Naughty, like trying to use logic and facts to prove points instead of just screaming at each other and calling each other names, like Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's
the quote MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County.
Listen.
And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently. The Republican Party.
Wait a second. Hang on. That is not a woman.
Do we got a Crocodile Dundee?
Dude, that's a Crocodile Dundee. I swear to God. You're going to have to go Crocodile Dundee on it. Dude, that if that's a woman, she needs to get off the testosterone because
good day.
Her 5 o'clock shadow is terrible.
But Sheila's a bloke.
And you know me, I'm not a trans hater, not an adult trans hater. Like, I don't care unless you're a fucking weirdo. Then I just don't like you because you're a weirdo.
Right.
But anyways, here's one from Hillary Clinton.
Oh, perfect.
A bloodbath. What would you say if you saw this in another country? I don't know. What about Benghazi?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The Afghan pullout. I mean, come on.
And here's Laura Loomer saying, why is Obama having private meetings with world leaders? That's a good question.
That's a very good question. You just said that. And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very strange. Why is he doing that? It's uncalled for. I don't get it. But so that's my take on the whole bloodbath thing. It's all bullshit. It's intellectual dishonesty and propaganda.
Yeah, no shit.
I just think that they when they do stuff like this, the left, it really exposes them for the absolute deviant, pestilent little kind of just weak human beings. Like if you're scratching to try to paint somebody this hard as a bad person or saying things that are bad, you know the person's a good person, and the smearing just won't even end.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have to work so hard to smear somebody if they were just genuinely bad. You know,
Right.
that's what I just said is the problem here is the left very rarely, if ever, has a logical argument to put forward towards anything. So all they have is shame and blame to make us feel bad. Like, yo, you're a terrible person. I mean, yeah, I can't even tell you. I've been told, how can you be a father of daughters and vote for Trump? I'm like, what the fuck is that even supposed to mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, I'm a bad father because I voted for Trump? Like, what?
Yeah.
And it's just it's a shame tactic. It's like trying to be like, well, shame on you. And it's like, but there's no shame to be had.